Hey, how's it going, everyone? So, there's been a lot of stir lately because a federal district judge in Manhattan, whose name was William H. Paul III, decided to rule that Fox Searchlight Studios had broken New York minimum wage laws by failing to pay interns. And at the center of this controversy is it right or wrong to, have unpaid internships? And the problem here is that the government is looking to intervene into the freely made agreements with individuals and business. In other words, they're trying to get government to say, "Oh no, you have to, pay somebody to do this internship." Well, the problem is that number one, there isn't anybody putting a gun to anybody's head. Um, it's just what it is. This isn't forced slavery. This isn't, indentured servitude. Nobody is forcing someone to take a job to get experience. Now, other people who are angry about this are like, "Oh, that's just exploitative." What does that mean for everybody else? So, all these businesses are just going to have unpaid internships, and that's just going to be, oh, whoever has the most money gets to have internships, and everybody else is just stuck. Well, two things. One, no, it's obviously completely not true, because obviously people pay money for people to do work. I mean, they have to attract people at some point, and at the point where a business starts to not do that, then it leaves room for other people to attract better talent, because it's not that hard to get a marginal value increased if the difference is somebody not getting paid and somebody actually getting paid, even if it was just a little bit more money, like minimum wage. Two, there's a big thing in economics called the unintended consequences of things, and a lot of people don't see this because it's the unseen very often. It's not reported on in the news. Nobody really thinks about it. So unintended consequences in this case can mean that if there's a minimum wage, then people aren't getting hired. If there's a minimum, amount of monies or anything that have to be paid in order for someone to work, then maybe those opportunities disappear completely, and nobody will have opportunities to, get their foot in the door or climb the ladder, get experience. And that's the nature of any minimum wage law, is that it begins to shut out those who are willing to work and get experience at a lower rate. And there are many other issues that people, talk about when it comes to like migrant workers or like, people being stuck in that rut. But the reality is that those issues are not because of minimum wage. It's not because of, them not getting paid enough. Those are because of other regulations that prevent people from freely transacting. In other words, the costs of doing business by the law compliantly are just too high. Nobody can actually, meet those standards. As has been grown by large corporations, which intentionally lobby to regulate to keep small businesses from competing. I mean, that's the brass tacks. It's hard to swallow for a lot of people, but guess what? Regulations actually serve big corporations because it keeps small guys from being able to compete, because the big corporations have huge teams of lawyers and attorneys. They can afford to always keep up with the latest stuff. Small people can't. So it always destroys small business. So the short of it is that the unintended consequences of getting rid of this are: you destroy opportunities for people to grow. You destroy opportunities, especially for young people who are in, middle school, high school, college, trying to get experience. And these things start to disappear because nobody can afford to keep up with it. I mean, it goes with anything else. With expenses, what happens is eventually you cut back on things. When you have things so prohibitively high, when the barriers to entry are so great that it's not worth engaging in the business, then it just disappears. And people don't seem to get that. They don't seem to get, oh, hey, maybe these opportunities actually provide ways for people to move on up that if they were to, be forced by the government to have to pay for, it just wouldn't exist, and that's it. And that's what happens. I mean, this is just, basic economics, and what you'll naturally see is the more interventions, the more regulations with the welfare state, you start to see the lower level jobs disappear. All that you start to see are jobs that require lots of experience, and then everybody else ends up going on welfare or some sort of employment assistance naturally. By design. The government wants to have everybody sucking on its teeth. And so this is just one more stab at that. With every stab of government intervention, you begin to see a giant bubble of a class of dependents, naturally. No surprise there. And then a class of people that are at that middle to higher rung that are suffering and trying to try just to make it. And of course, there's the big companies that are in control and still making it by no matter what. But that's a part of the corporate government partnership. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on this whole unpaid internships thing. It's really simple. Freedom to be able to contract, and you have to look for the unintended consequences. You're just, when you remove the ability for people to accept those types of work, you remove those abilities for people to jump in and get past those barriers to entry and climb the ladder and get more skills, especially young people. So take care. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll talk to y'all soon.